this weather has really sobered us up on a lot of things. Not only have to check your roof, you want to make sure you get drains in your house. But what about your car? If you drove your car into one of those puddles and you suddenly stalled, then what? The biggest mistake you could make, well, let's ask Dave Stahl, because a lot of people try to restart their car once it stalls. Big problem there, huh,
Yeah,
Dave?
Major
nice
problem.
to have you here.
Nah, no problem.
By the way, how was Alpine? Did you get snow up there?
Snow/hail. I took a picture and sent it to Dave Scott, but I guess he's on vacation this week.
Well, lucky him.
And he deserves it, no
Yes,
doubt.
he does.
Well, you're absolutely right. And it was funny, too, because back in the late 70s, early 80s, I went to a car dealership, my very first job. First day I got there, I seen a mud line that was 4 feet up off the ground. The dealership was in Mission Valley, and it was Rose Toyota.
Yeah.
So they had a major problem in there. So I learned hands-on what to do with cars that get soaked, okay? The biggest problem is there's do's and don'ts. The first thing you don't want to do, and you hit it around the head, is do not start the car and try to drive it
when it's in water like that.
Yeah, once it's in water. In fact, try not to even go in the water if you can avoid it. If that does happen, you've got about a 10% chance of saving the car if it's 1980 and newer.
Okay.
All the computers are located under the passenger or driver's seat. So if that water gets up above that, these computers are not designed to ward off water.
They don't mix with water.
No.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, too, is once they get wet, you have to get them clean and dried out immediately, because a lot of these computers have a really low voltage sensors, and they're real susceptible to corrosion and rust and what have you. So there's your problem. But number one, first you got to check your insurance company and say, hey, my car's been flooded. Am I covered? And if you don't have comprehensive insurance, then you're not going to get covered.
So comprehensive includes water damage?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then the next thing you want to do is the insurance company's going to look at your car and they're going to say, well, let's take a look at this, Carlos. You know, it's got 280,000 miles on it, but it's a 2010.
You've been driving a lot.
You're done. Yeah, but they're done. It's a ratio.
Yeah.
They look at it as a ratio.
They total it.
But don't get emotional. That's where the biggest problem where people get into. They get emotional. But that's my baby. You know, my wife and I got married in that car.
Right.
Well, it's not going to do you any good. They're going to come up with a number. You're not going to be able to fight it. Okay, so that's where that's at. But the biggest problem we're running into, too, is let's say you're thinking about buying a car down the road, and all of a sudden somebody has this beautiful Cadillac, and it's $10,000 cheaper than anything else. You might want to do some research, because not unlike Katrina and other floods that we've had, cars have been shipped to California to be resold, because what happens, they can be salvaged in, say, Louisiana. They come to California to get retitled. They go to the auctions where everybody thinks that's the best place to buy a car, which I totally disagree. You now have bought another problem. You mentioned Carfax. Oh, well, you know, Carfax is... No, not unless it's reported. Now, I have to say, I have to back up a little bit, because Katrina... They'd had another flood prior to Katrina, and that's where that happened. So then the Katrina people, they hoarded all the cars, put them in a lot, salvaged every single one of them. Now, doesn't mean they can't go out and get done someplace else, go to another state. So there's a lot of things the consumer needs to be aware of. But if you get stuck and you're in the water and your car's flooded, or it's in the garage, like that guy with the Lamborghini, two times he lost the Lamborghini. I think his insurance company's not going to be chatting with him very much.
But a lot of those cars that were lost at Fashion Valley in that parking garage, they're all the way up to the window. They're done. Those things are gone. You're not ever going to recover those cars.
Don't even waste your money or time. You may have to work a little to convince the insurance company. You know, you may have to. Oh, I know.
He's toast.
Yeah, and what are you doing in there anyway?
Well, yeah.
Is it not raining? Is this place? I mean, does KUSI not tell everybody that
we
this place
tell them,
floods?
and they still go there. Yeah,
and they still go in there.
They still go in there.
Yeah,
and
the guy with the
realize.
Lambo is the one that just blows me away.
Yeah.
But,
so these cars are gone, but check to see that you have comprehensive insurance. Number one. Number two, if you go into water, don't try to start your car again.
And it doesn't make a difference if it's clean water. The only way it probably work is if it was distilled water.
And what about fluids? Should you change your fluids
your
after
engine
all
oil.
that?
If you do decide, let's say it's
If you can
pre-computer.
save your car.
Let's say it's pre-computer.
Okay.
Let's say it's a 82 or a 78 Chevy or something like that. No computer controls. Then change your engine oil, change your diff oil, change your transmission oil. You may want to look at your wheel bearings, because none of this stuff is designed to keep water out when it sits in water for long periods of time.
But, wires do dry, computers don't.
No.
Sometimes I just like the thought of having my old car back.
Yeah,
my
that old
66,
55. Oh, yeah, the 66.
66 VW.
Absolutely. And
Dave
you can
Stahl.
do simple things.